Exposure therapy means that we expose ourselves to the things that we don't like, things that can be difficult for us, things that can be challenging for us, things that can make us uncomfortable. And with exposure therapy, it means that we intentionally expose ourselves to that thing for the purpose of desensitizing us to its impact, to its effect, and to strengthen us within ourselves to be able to grow, to cope with these sorts of issues that are off-putting to us. Now, an example of this I think of years ago, decades ago. I used to train in Taekwondo. And my instructor, Master Inho Oak in Lubbock, Texas, was the school that I was at for several years. We had a young girl there. She was about 12, if I remember correctly. And she had this reaction reflex where when she was in a fight with somebody, when she was doing her training, when somebody would come at her to punch or to kick her, she would flutter her eyes and close her eyes and throw up her hands, which the reflex of doing that is you're just trying to protect yourself. I get that. But the instructor, Inho Oak, he would always step in and he would say, keep your eyes open, keep your eyes open. And she would say, well, I'm trying. But, obviously she was scared by the whole experience of it all. And one can understand this. One can be sympathetic to these sorts of things. Well, the girl went on continuing to do this, where she would continue to flutter her eyes and close her eyes. And of course, you can't fight with your eyes closed. It's defeating. Well, Inho decided to give her some training to help her overcome this. And it was really quite clever what he did. When we would go in for training, we had gear that we would wear. So we would have pads on our hands, a helmet, a chest pad, foot pads. And so he took her and he had her off to the side. This was 1 hour a day, usually 3 days a week when she was coming to class. And for about 2 weeks, he had her off to the side and he had another a student in the class. And he would just stand in front of her and he would throw kicks and punches to her midsection. And of course, she had her pads on and he wasn't hitting her hard. But the training for her, the discipline for her, was that she had to learn to stand straight with her hands at her side and keep her eyes open. Now, the first couple days, it was very, very difficult for her because the guy that was working with her, every time he would throw a kick up to her chest, she would, draw back and her hands would want to come up and, she would throw her head back and her eyes would, want to shut. And Inho kept stepping in and he said, no, relax, keep your hands at your side. This isn't going to hurt you. Take the kicks. Wasn't hitting her hard, but again, it was just trying to help her overcome this weakening instinct that she had that was working against her. So after about the first week, she really made some pretty good improvements to where by the end of the first week, she was standing there and taking the hits and the kicks and keeping her eyes open the whole time. And she did this again for 2 weeks, an hour each day, 3 days a week. And by the end of the 2 weeks, she had exposed herself enough to this and had consciously focused on overcoming this to where she was taking the hits and she realized, okay, I'm not being hurt here. But at the end of it, she was so much better, so much better. Now, she had to go through the training. She had to learn to spar when she was out there. She had to learn her forms, the Taeguk and the Page forms, which was part of her training. But she really, by exposing herself to the thing that frightened her, to the thing that she didn't like over a period of time in a controlled environment, mind you, with people that were working with her that were safe. But nonetheless, it was off-putting. It was uncomfortable for her, and it was obviously uncomfortable for her. But again, she continued to expose herself to that thing that she feared. And by the end of the 2 weeks, she had made remarkable improvements. I really, really had a lot of respect for this young woman, this young girl. And she went on to do quite well in her training and sparring. And it was kind of a teachable moment to think about the concept of exposure therapy and how she again exposed herself to the thing that was difficult for her. Now, as a Christian, who lives in a fallen world, there are a number of things that I will try to avoid. There are difficult people, difficult situations, difficult scenarios that I find myself in. But it's interesting that over the years, I've learned to view them as opportunities to grow. I've learned to view them as opportunities to shine and to develop myself and to allow God to develop my character by exposing me to difficult people and difficult situations. And when I walk into it with my eyes wide open. First of all, I know the Lord is with me. I know the Lord is for me. I know that He is working all things together for my good because I love Him and I am called according to His purpose. And I know that He is working in my life. He's shaping me. He's developing me, which is why you see passages like Romans 5, 3, and 4, James 1, 2 through 4, where James says, "Count it all joy, my brethren, when you encounter various trials, knowing that the testing of your faith produces endurance, endurance proving character," and so on. But when you face that trial, you can go into it eyes wide open. You can know that you're about to be hit. But you can also know that God is with you, that God is for you, that He's working in that situation to train you, to develop you. And you go into it, again, eyes wide open, knowing what you're about to face. And that God is going to use this difficult situation to refine you, to develop you. And again, it's just over the years when I've faced difficult situations, I've walked into meetings with coworkers, with supervisors, with family, with just a variety of situations. Again, with my eyes wide open, relaxed, knowing that this is going to be a hit. But when you walk away, it's manageable. You can deal with it because God is with you. He's for you. And He's using this to develop you and to train you, to grow you into a better person. So I've thought about this exposure therapy and how it relates to the Word of God and to the Christian life as a whole. So anyway, hopefully this story has been helpful to you in some way. I thank you very much for taking the time to watch this short video, and I wish you a blessed day.